That's good. What is one powerful tip for building a leadership mindset?
A great tip for building a leadership mindset is learning a simple equation. E plus R equals O. Life events are going to happen. It is how you as a leader learn how to respond to those rather than reacting to those that is consistently going to give you better outcomes. So learning to slow things down, listen, absorb, and then respond will get you to a better place sooner.
Cool. You happy with that answer?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the importance of emotional intelligence in effective leadership?
Emotional intelligence, it comes up often today, and people ask me, why is that important? People that we lead don't want to be told what to do. They want to be able to buy into what needs to be done. And that requires a high level of emotional intelligence on the part of the leader. EQ is something you need to build like a muscle. Exercise it daily.
Cool. Let's do that one more time. That was you ended it just a little weird.
Okay.
What's the importance of emotional intelligence in effective leadership?
Today, often I'm asked, what is emotional intelligence and why is it important in effective leadership? Those who we lead today do not want to be told what to do, but they want to buy into what needs to be done. Your role as the leader is use your emotional intelligence to understand the person in front of you and articulate it in a way that they understand it, so they can buy into it and then they will go execute and deliver better results.
What is the role of mentorship in advancing leadership skills, and why should someone seek mentorship?
Another great question comes up. Why mentorship? Why is that going to help and advance me in my leadership capabilities? Well, I say it's simple. Have you ever seen a star athlete going to the Olympics without a good coach and a mentor? The answer is no. Well, you as a healthcare leader or an entrepreneur or an emerging leader, it is the same for you. Using a mentor and mentorship allows you to learn from others in a safe environment, and it will help you advance in your career and certainly accelerate your learning.
How can a person in a leadership position encourage workplace motivation, or how can they motivate their workers?
How can leaders motivate their teams? Well,
I'm going to stop right there.
Okay.
When you rephrase it, don't just say like how can, just say leaders can motivate their team by.
Okay. I'm going to start.
How can a person in a leadership position encourage workplace motivation?
Leaders can motivate their team members by adopting some very simple strategies. One is they need to understand the people that they lead want to be able to understand what they are aiming at. So to motivate them is to get them to buy into it. To motivate them is to be abundant in your appreciation of those that you lead. The combination of trust and engagement gives you productivity, and that's where the real results come from.
How can someone maintain a healthy work-life balance, or what are your advice on maintaining a work-life balance?
How can you maintain a great work-life balance? Because that's really exceptionally important. Oh, let me cut. Okay.
And then how you're looking right now is like good. Sometimes you lean your head down like this and it looks a little different.
Like this is good? Okay.
Yeah, try to keep your head up.
Okay.
How can you maintain a healthy work-life balance?
A healthy work-life balance is exceptionally important for all people to prevent burnout. And it starts with setting healthy boundaries by understanding that there's a beginning of a day and an end of the day. And it doesn't relentlessly go on with more text and emails after hours. It's by having conversations with your boss about what the boundary is and to make adequate time to relax and to refresh and rebalance after work.
Is change good, and when is a good time to implement change?
Is change good? Well, change is inevitable. And as leaders, we have to understand that we have to overcome the resistance to change. And that is really to get to understand why people are resistant to it. How can you work together with them to understand the why behind the change? And then the real key is to work with your team over an extended period of time to get them from the normal today to the new normal in like 90 to 120 days.
What is one memorable experience that taught you an inevitable leadership lesson?
What is a memorable experience?
Oh. One memorable experience that I can...
Okay. One memorable experience that I can remember is working on a project, and I did not have the key stakeholder involved in the project itself. I rolled it out, it was a great suggestion, and once the key stakeholder became aware of it, they wanted nothing to do with it. It is a golden lesson. Make sure that you have all key stakeholders who are going to be affected by the change are involved from day one.
What's the significance of transparency and authenticity as a leader?
Say that again.
What's the significance of transparency and authenticity as a leader? And you could say, like, as a leader, it is extremely important to maintain transparency.
Do you want me to restate it?
What's the significance of transparency and authenticity as a leader?
As a leader, it is exceptionally important to have authenticity and transparency. There's a simple equation: trust times engagement leads to productivity. And if you are not transparent and you're not authentic, trust is eroded. So it is important to be able to have your team involved and engaged in the activities that take place. It's like a shared governance environment. It really works.
Let's do that one more time. Because why is it important to I think the main thing is, why is it important to be transparent with your employees?
Okay.
And how could they benefit from your transparency?
Ready?
Yep.
Okay. Why is it critically important to be transparent with your team and be authentic? Well, the simple truth is that if you are not truthful with them, you erode the trust between the two. And when trust is gone, everything else is going downhill from that point. So making sure that folks stay informed, feel that they are part of the team and can ask good questions and be open and transparent in your answers will lead to better outcomes.
Nice. What are your thoughts on yearly performance evaluations?
What is my thought about yearly performance evaluations?
My thought on yearly performance evaluations.
Okay, my thought on yearly performance evaluations. I think they're garbage. And why it is? Because we take these off the shelf once a year. We look at them, we have some conversation about it, and then they go back on the shelf for the next 12 months collecting dust. We have to do better. And the answer for me is using an individual development plan.
What's an individual development plan?
An individual development plan is a phenomenal tool that is owned by the employee that they can then use to have conversation with their boss on a regular basis, like bi-monthly or quarterly, that helps them drive the continuous development and reach the ultimate goal. That could be setting them up for promotion, or could set them up for further education. But it is real about ownership and setting milestones that are measurable and attainable.
Perfect. Why is self-awareness important in a leadership role? Why
is self-awareness important as a leader?
Self-awareness is important as
a
leader.
Why don't you restate it next time? Just restate it. Okay. Self-awareness is important as a leader because it starts with understanding your own why. I ask that question often, and I always start my programs at diving into this portion deeply. Okay, I have to read it.
Yeah.
How do you want me to open it up, you said?
So I say, why is self-awareness important in a leadership role? And I would say, like, self-awareness is extremely important in a leadership role because it allows...
Okay, so self-awareness is critical for a leader. And disappointingly, most of the people that I work with are really not self-aware. They know the what and then how, but not really the why. The reason why it is so critically important is because you need to be able to manage the reality versus the perception. And the more self-aware you are, your reality and perception comes together, which makes you a highly effective leader.
Cool. Let's use a little less hands on this next one.
Okay.
What is operational rhythm?
Operational rhythm is a system that allows the people to really be committed to a process that spans over 52 weeks. It creates a self-accountability system where people have to continue to evaluate, do I have the right people in the right roles? Are we addressing the critical issues? Are we measuring the right things? Are we accountable to self and to our teams? And are we taking the right actions?
What are you doing, Lily?
Lily is coming too.
What is A3 thinking?
So A3 thinking is a pragmatic approach to solving a problem. It takes a little bit from Lean and it takes a little bit from Six Sigma. But this allows you to have a stepwise approach from why am I doing this, the reason for action, making sure that I truly understand what the current state is today and what is it that I want to accomplish in the future, before you go into understanding the root causes, and then about the hypothesis. If I do this, what is likely to happen? And instead of just implementing, we want to test it first. A3 thinking allows the people to get to the root causes and put sustainable process into place while you measure them over a long period of time.
And then you could say, like, when I'm coaching leaders, I always highly encourage for them to implement A3 thinking.
Okay. As a coach, as a mentor, I guide all of my mentees to an A3 project for two reasons. A, I want them to start thinking in a more stepwise approach so they don't try to boil the ocean. And number two, each of my clients completes a project so there's an immediate return on investment in our program. Often it pays for our engagement.
Cool. What are 3 tips to improve employee retention?
What are the 3 tips to retain your employees? Well, first it starts by recognizing that a high retention rate is exceptionally important to the bottom line. It is about re-engaging. So I suggest not only do we bring people into the organization, but we are going to have a conversation with them at 6 weeks and 12 weeks to make sure we can retain them. You want 3 tips altogether? I can do that in 30 seconds though.
It can be a little longer. I think I'll say, like, what are some tips to improve employee retention? And I think the main thing is saying, like, it's important to, as a leader, it's always important to retain employees rather than thinking you can just hire someone else to do the same job for less.
Okay.
Because in the long run, it's more expensive to hire a new employee through the onboarding process than it is to keep your employees happy.
Okay, very good.
One way to keep them happy is by...
So what is the opening? Is it the 3 tips to retaining employees?
I would say employee retention should always be in the front mind, like in the front of your head or something like that.
Employee retention needs to be in the foremind of our leaders. Simply that the cost, the direct and indirect cost of losing an employee is exceptionally high. So we need to engage them, and we need to understand this is not about money for most of our team members. It's about reward and recognition and appreciation. And really the critical issue is how we can develop our leaders. If you stay engaged, people are more likely to stay with you as well. People leave organizations not because of the organization, but because of a leader that doesn't develop them.
Cool. So like, let's put your head in the mind of someone that you're coaching or a leader. How would you improve workplace productivity? What are some things you would implement?
Workplace productivity?
And maybe you can bring in just like how there's a lot of like hybrid workers right now, and like
not so much in healthcare, right? We don't really have that.
Um,
How can we improve engagement? That's really the question, or how did you phrase it?
Workplace productivity. Or
okay,
like,
workplace productivity.
So like, I think where I was thinking is,
I have a good answer to it. It's good. Workplace productivity is something that we need to measure and be more aware of. And how do we do that? We need to engage our team members around our huddle boards where we can highlight 1 or 2 key metrics for their specific unit. And it is when you draw them into that and really have them understand what are the drivers behind the outcome, and share some of that responsibility and empower them to improve that. That's when productivity will rise and outcomes will improve.
Cool. I don't know if this one applies to you, but it's like a really big thing right now. That's like all over social media. Is like, what are your thoughts on like a 32-hour work week?
Okay.
Have you been seeing that recently?
I talk about it often.
Like Bernie Sanders is like talking about it.
No, it's a European model. So
yeah.
It is workplace balance is something that we need to really be mindful about, because it will become a retention strategy in the future. And having a 32-hour work week is not out of the realm of possibilities. Just think, if you can prevent burnout and people feel there's better quality time outside of work, on the level of energy they can bring while they're at work. That energy, that trust, that engagement leads to productivity. Productivity will give you all the results you desire: safety, quality, growth, change, transformation.
And then you kind of need to end that. So like, do you think it's something that's good, or do you think it's bad, or do you think it's something that leaders should be like worried about?
As we have seen in industry trends, the workplace has changed since COVID. We have gone from in-hospital to a hybrid function, or even fully hybrid for those people who are not taking care of patients. I think the awareness around maybe having a 32-hour work week is something that people need to think about. I'm a proponent of making sure that we have strong work-life balance, because it will lead to better outcomes. And if that means putting into the mix a 32-hour work week and giving people 3 days a week off, I'm all for it.
Those are the questions that I had. That was 16 or 17.
All right.
Do you have any more that you can think of? I'm trying to think of stuff that you take from your like speech that you did. I think we should talk a little bit about like what people can expect when they like decide to like sign up to work with you.
All right, so why don't we do the fellowship program first, the cohort, and then just if you roll it, and I'll just talk a little bit about that. Is that okay?
Yeah, you can just go right into it.
Okay. Looks good on camera?
Yeah, you moved just a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Fix it. Cool.
Hi, I'm Walter, and I'm the Dutch mentor, and welcome to our fellowship program. We have created this for the purpose of developing our early and mid-careerist. It's a 12-week program where you will be in a cohort that will be full of discussion and sharing experiences, as well as some didactic work. We support this by weekly 30-minute mentoring sessions, so we can really dive into what it is that you need to do around self-awareness and how to develop your journey map, as well as learning how to solve problems and establishing a rhythm, or sometimes you can lead a team, or sometimes you just need to be a really good team member. The question that always comes to me about money. Listen, I'm the first to say this should be paid by their employees through tuition reimbursement. Right? Employers need to be supportive of this kind of training. But it shouldn't stop you or stand in your way to make an investment in yourself. It's affordable. It's only $199 a month for the next 12 months. Just think about that. That is $50 a week. You're most likely spending $50 on coffee and cakes. Your self-improvement, your career is paramount. Just because we have fancy degrees, a bachelor's and master's degree, doesn't give us the skills, the knowledge and ability to become highly effective leaders. This is the one additional step I would recommend you to take and invest into, to bring it all into one spot, bring it alive and take action that will give you the desired results that could lead to a promotion. Join us today, and if you have any questions, book a free consultation call. Be more than happy to chat about it and help you and give you some direction. Take care.
Cool.
Okay. And then the other, what was the other part? Talk a little bit about the engage when they come. I will talk about the membership.
Or like, what are some frequently asked questions when you go on a consultation call? Or what are some things that people say
A lot of it is about transitions. So I'll talk about that. That is, you ready? Hi, I'm Walter and I'm the Dutch mentor. A frequent question that I face now is about transitions. I'm stuck in my role. I feel like I'm pigeonholed. I have not been promoted for 2 to 3 years. I need to earn more money. These are all very valid questions, but they need to be addressed in a succinct way. Making an investment in yourself by joining one of our membership program options, our bronze, silver, gold. It gives you time to be able to develop your plan for you to accelerate your journey into whatever role you want to go into. But this should not be done in a vacuum. The shame of it is this: too many people apply to roles and they go for the first interview and they come back and say, I didn't get even a second interview. And when I speak with them and I just ask some basic questions, they don't really have good answers. They ramble on, it's not focused. It sounds like every other candidate in front of them. So no wonder why they did not get to the first or second round. It is paramount for you. If you want to go to a transition, you have to build out a plan. And you should do it with a coach and a mentor. It will set you up for success. And just think, the return on investment of a 20% increase in your current salary, you multiply that over time, it could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So why not invest $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 in yourself to get the outcomes that you desire, and it might be really good for your families too. Come visit our website at thedutchmentor.com and check out our membership site.
Cool.
Okay.
You all set?
I think those are the two things that I think that for the membership, and we have enough spots for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, if we do 2 a week, then that's fine.
Okay.
But I think it's good. You don't want to overload it.
Yeah, no. Okay, sounds good. And you can come up with a bunch more questions after that. What time is it? Look at it, 12:35.
We can hang out.
I can go out. Well, I can take you out for lunch too.